the pension fund managers, I believe there should be some kind of oversight function as relates to the bureau. These are the last lap. These are the people who deal incidentally with the pension recipients. What are your disposition towards ensuring that they do what they're expected to do?
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you so much. The State Bureau of Pension actually does not relate directly with the pensioners, in terms of funding their accounts and all of that. What happens is at every point in time when we have funds to deploy to the pensioners' accounts coming from the state government, either by way of the state government contribution of 10% or the workers' contribution of 7.5%, it is paid to the pension fund managers, who in turn will credit the account of the pensioners, the beneficiaries. Every pensioner, even those who are still in service, that is those who are aspiring to go into pension at a later date, by arrangement, are expected to have been registered with one pension fund administrator or the other. And so with those pension fund administrators, they have their retirement savings accounts. When the funds are deployed or credited to those accounts by the PFA, their responsibility will be to ensure that the fund does not just lie there, but it is deployed into some investment that will generate additional income for the beneficiaries. We do not just remit funds to the PFAs and sit idle in the office. We also try as much as possible to track the funds, to understand how much they are doing, to ensure that the beneficiaries get to know about it as quickly as possible. For the monthly contribution from the employer and the employees, the PFAs are expected to relate monthly alert to the pensioners to give them the status of their individual accounts, so that at any point in time they have any issue, they can deal directly with the PFA. Again, we are, because of what we mentioned before, the debt that we ran into because of the hitches we had at the point of commencement. The state government is in a process of trying to defray that outstanding by what may be described as the accrued rights, what the workers were supposed to have benefited from the commencement of the scheme up to the time they started making their own contribution. When such funds are received, we also deploy to the accounts, to the PFAs for onward transmission to the beneficiaries. But we have come to see that sometimes, in a situation where we expect that a pension fund manager should have credited a beneficiary within a couple of days, because the whole scheme is computerized, some of them take 2, 3, 4 months. They keep the funds with them for one reason or the other, and yet refuse to credit the pensioners. Because we have been receiving such complaints, on our own part, we have adopted an approach of trying to know and establish how much these PFAs are trying to meet up with our own target. If we say that the state government is hard-pressed trying to meet its obligation as I went due, we do not want to sit here and also watch PFAs collect money from the state government and use it to build the profit of their employers or their own private businesses, rather than use it to credit the accounts of our pensioners. So from the office here, from time to time, we organize reconciliation visits to our pension fund administrators. We'll go with what we have remitted to them. We'll go with our list of pensioners as recorded, and we'll try to find out from them how they have dealt with such releases. And I think that we are achieving some level of successes, except in cases where between the pensioners and the PFAs, they have some issues, either because of defective documentation in terms of names, date of birth, one or two things that may just be wrong, or even their PIN numbers. That will make it difficult for the PFA to credit their account. So when we have such issues, we also try to give time frame within which reconciliation should be made. So we do not just sit here and wait. It may be suspected that we are a private organization, we have remitted money to another organization to manage on behalf of our pensioners. What if they still refuse to do anything about it? The PFAs are not just on their own. And we too as a body, we are not operating freestyle. There is a National Pension Commission, which is the overriding body that sets the rules and guidelines for the operation of the PFAs, pension fund managers, and the bureaus of state pension. So anytime there is any conflict, the PENCOM, National Pension Commission, would send to resolve it. And I think that so far, from the number of reviews, interactive sections that we have managed and organized by the National Pension Commission, a lot has been done to smoothen that relationship. So we do not sit idle, believing that the PFAs will do their best to help us. We also try to see how much they are doing, either by going to their head offices where it becomes difficult cases, or their field offices, because all of them, about 18 of them now that we operate with, they all have offices around the Sabah, especially within Delta State.
Oh, yeah. What has the journey been so far? Still pinning it back to the mandate, the state government, the relationship, the journey so far in the final analysis?
Well, what can I say? I recall that as soon as my appointment was announced about a year ago, even before I went for screening by the State House of Assembly, I was already receiving calls from pensioners complaining about distress, delay in payment, frustration, one thing or the other. And I also recall that on the day of my swearing in, I also raised that issue with His Excellency the Governor, that with the pressure I was already getting even before knowing where my office was, that I guess that he will have to carry a major part of that responsibility to ensure that we meet our obligation. And he accepted that he would do his best. At the point of my coming into this bureau, I think we were having a monthly receipt of about 150 million naira per month to address the debt that accrued at the commencement of this exercise. It was barely enough for us to pay up to 20 pensioners. And even as we were struggling to make those payments, many more people were entering the pension payroll. So together with the management, we agreed that we needed to approach His Excellency the Governor. And we got the support of Labour. We approached him, we appealed for his assistance and for an augmentation of what was being remitted on a monthly basis to address our debt and our obligation to pensioners. He acceded and increased it to 300 million naira monthly. Again, within a couple of months, it's like Oliver asked him for more. We went back to him to make additional demand for enhancement. He again obliged and raised it to 500 million naira monthly. Even as he was doing that, there was this, do I call it windfall, the Paris fund refund that came in. And before we could say Jack, His Excellency released 3 billion naira. You know, for us it was a windfall. And by that measure alone, from a situation where we were only able to pay maybe 40, 45 pensioners, we were able to pay 1,225 pensioners at a go. For me, it has been a demonstration of utmost commitment by somebody with a very compassionate heart to deal with the issue of the pensioners. For me, the relationship between this bureau and the state government is one that I can describe as exciting. Why do I say exciting? Yes, we are owing. Yes, the debt is enough to crush all of us. But again, we're encouraged to continue because of the disposition of the governor to this issue. So there's that assurance that as long as there is fund, he will do his best to ensure that this thing is done in the shortest possible time. When there is this demand for the harmonization of our pension payments, you know, because at the moment what we are doing is we are paying with the old salary scheme of 7,500 naira minimum wage, whereas the minimum wage went up to 18,000 early 20s. So pensioners have been agitating for harmonization. It has taken a number of years, but I can also tell you that as we speak, between the workers representative, that's the labor union, the pensioners, members of the association, contributory pensioners, and the bureau, we have reached an agreement as to what is due to all the workers on the basis of that last minimum wage of 20,000 naira, 18,000 naira monthly. What is left is agreement on the accrued interest. Because the money was not paid to the retirement savings account of the pensioners, it is assumed that it was with government. And if government says it wants to pay the money, the workers have requested that the government would just not give them the basic, because the money was supposed to be trading for them in their retirement savings account. So what is left now is for the workers, the state government, and the bureau to agree on the level of interest element that will be added to what is due to the pensioners, and that will be done. I think that His Excellency has demonstrated utmost compassion in dealing with this issue, and that has been a great source of inspiration for all of us in this bureau. If you are working with somebody who acknowledges that there is a problem and he's doing his best to address that problem, your best from time to time is to ensure that you do not do anything to frustrate his efforts. That again is where we say our relationship with the SMART agenda. He has set an agenda for himself as the governor of Delta State. He has given every department, every section, specific mandate on what to do. And he's giving them the support and the facilities with which to operate. It will be criminal on our part to abuse our goodwill or misdirect the use of such facilities. So from our end, we are partnering, we're on the same page, we're working and doing everything that we can to be uppermost in the assessment of the successes of the SMART agenda.
Thank you so much, sir.